Now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered that the details of the spending of $5 billion Abacha loot be made public. In a judgment delivered on the 3rd of July, the court ordered President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to disclose the exact amount of the money stolen by General Sani Abacha from Nigeria, the total amount recovered, and all agreements signed on the same by the governments of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Umaru Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari. The suit was filed by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. Now, the court dismissed all the objections raised by the federal government and upheld SERAP's argument. Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale is with us now to share his perspective on the Abacha loot, the controversy surrounding its recovery, and the spending so far. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, it's good to have you here. And quite unprecedented. SERAP has gone to court and they've gotten what they were looking for. Now, the question is this. Do you think the federal government will abide by this decision and publish and make public the spendings of the Abacha loot over the years? Now, this doesn't have to do with the Tinubu government or the Buhari government. Dating back to 1999 with the government of former President Olusegun.
Four presidents. Four presidents.
Four
President
Olusegun Obasanjo till date. Yeah. Talk to us about this.
Okay. Your first fear, you get me? It's unfounded. You see, if anything, if this court judgment had not come into play,
yes,
this present president was a victim of the Abacha dictatorship. You know, he fled before Abacha.
Yes, he did.
But now he's president.
Yeah.
Now, it is not him asking for this to be done. It is the court. So he has no reason not to want to do it.
Oh, we've seen governments in the past disregard court judgment. That's why my fear is coming from.
In this particular case,
yes,
if you are in this position, will you not do it? He has a grouse against Abacha because he fled before Abacha. Well, you are under with Nadeko. Get me? But by the grace of God, by the grace of God, is president now. And look at that court judgment. It is a lesson on how our democracy should run. The judge made one point there on advocacy, citizens' advocacy. He said in the past, they had always asked for their locus in bringing the case. But this just held that this setup is trying to hold government accountable, to introduce transparency and good governance, and that it is speaking for the people. And in a democracy, sovereignty resides in the citizens, because they put the people in power in that position in the first instance. So it is a reordering of our democracy along constitutional path, and I like it. And I don't see why any government could object to it, especially a government, a president that has enough grouse with the Abacha regime because of his dictatorial tendencies.
We have to also talk about, you know, the timing of this. I mean, as with you, I have no objections. I think this is a good way to go, especially with what is happening now. Right. And as alongside you, and even Femi Falana's son had come out to say that he's really welcomed the judgment, and he spoke about the timing. It couldn't have come at a more opportune time than now because of the economic hardship to which, you know, the people of Nigeria have been subjected to. So the question of public accountability comes to the front burner. At this point, I mean, we're looking at about four, you know, like you just said, four former presidents. Yes. The turnaround time, how feasible is this? How soon should we be expecting this court order to go into action?
Then you didn't read the judgment. It says 7 days. Government must react. And I expect government to do just that. Although we have no Minister of Justice now. But you have the Ministry of Justice, you have the Solicitor General. There are people who can take action there. You see, the point is that looted money, 5 billion, it's a lot. if you can fund $5 billion.
$5 billion.
Dollars. You see what relief that will bring in terms of palliatives to our people. So it is a step in the right direction. And I expect this government to take that step.
But I'm also thinking about the logistics of it, you know, because, you know, we're speaking about multiple administrations, and for the multiple administrations, we have different people that were obviously the ones overseeing the loots at, you know, at the different times. So, in tracing it back, do you think it's something that can be done?
We have records. I mean, we have governments. We have elections to replace governments. There is law and order. They will, see, what they did before was that the Ministry of Finance just ignored them and said they did not have the records. Mostly, this same judiciary have thrown away cases involving Sarah on the grounds that they have no locus. So this is, in my view, this is the first judge that has the courage to insist that in a democracy, citizens put those in power in office through elections, and they should be accountable to them and be transparent in the way they spend money.
All right, I still go back to my initial question.
Right.
And I will fault your logic on one particular ground. We've seen time and time again, especially when the Nigeria Bar Association weeks are coming up, and they always urge lawyers to press home a major demand, which is regard the rule of law. And we've seen previous governments disregard the rule of law. As a matter of fact, even the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice of several administrations have also been accused of flouting and disregarding the rule of law. You mentioned something that this particular president felt the sting of the late dictator, talking about late General Sani Abacha. But I would say that the former president himself, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, felt the bite of the late dictator more than the present president, because in 1995 he was thrown into jail and also accused of being part of those who came together to plan a coup. He felt the brunt of it. He was in prison for 3 years. And certainly, if he had a score to settle, he would have probably published this. But we are seeing that nothing has happened.
Now,
we've been calling for it, and nothing has happened.
Obasanjo has an opportunity now because of this court case.
Yes.
One, and then look at Obasanjo's record.
Okay.
One of his major achievements was that he was able to get debt forgiveness. Get me? And
Yes.
was able to go around to trace the Abacha loot. So that was his own way. And his own way of, you know, looking back or righting the wrong he suffered.
We are calling this is about accountability,
Yes.
not about remedying whatever was wrong in the past. This is about
If you
accountability.
remedy, it's not accountability.
No, accountability is different from remedying. They are two different things.
Accountability is being able to account for what is in your custody.
Yes. And how you use
and
it.
that is responsibility.
Yes, but that's not remedying.
That's responsibility. If you have not done it in the past and you are asked to do it now, is that not remedy? Is that not responsibility? Is that not transparency? Get your vocabulary right.
No, yeah.
No.
Okay.
See, and then see on the issue of
Yes.
logic. Look, the fact that something was done and a court of law, a court of competent jurisdiction has given a directive in a system of checks and balances, separation of powers. It is the law, it is the judiciary that interprets the law. Tinubu is bound to listen to it because his role is to execute the law.
Yeah, but we are saying that the previous administration had laid a very dangerous precedent of the previous administration had laid a very dangerous precedent of disregarding the rule of law.
So must it be followed?
And I'm saying that do they have the political will
dangerous
to do
precedent
this?
Of illegality? Must that be followed? Is that your recommendation? Like illegality should be redressed.
You know,
I know what you are referring to.
Thank you very much.
They won, especially during the election, when they took Buhari to court on this new currency introduction.
Yeah.
He defied the court.
Yes, he did.
So must Tinubu to defy the court? No, you are illogical.
We're seeing patterns here in governance.
Okay, so at this point, if I may come in, gentlemen.
Tinubu is a new president.
Yes.
It does not follow. It does not need to follow a bad precedent. Because illegality is it logical? Illegality is a fraud in terms of justice.
Speaking about precedents,
look, why don't you look at how this man can implement what is on the ground instead of dwelling on relevant history?
If we're comparing the current administration and the old administration, let me just land on my point. If we're looking at this, like you rightfully said, if President Tinubu is going to do the right thing,
he should do the right thing.
We're looking at it as going to do. I'm not. This is at this point. I'm only speaking as an observer.
Yes.
Now he has the reason to do that because he's the one currently in power. But if we're looking at administrations in the past who had ignored the rule of law, what is the onus on them to obey that rule of law now when they have nothing to lose?
Which administration? The
previous administrations.
Go and ask them. That's a relevant question.
All right.
Why do you ask this question?
All right.
We're talking about now.